Hey everyone! We just returned from our trip to Dortmund for the epic Euro 2024 matchup between Turkey vs Georgia, and what an amazing trip it was. Buckle up, because this wasn't just an average soccer for our American friends, adventure. It was a roller coaster ride with more twists and turns than a German pretzel.
Don't get us wrong, the game was incredible and the atmosphere was electric. But let's just say our journey to Dortmund was less bullet train and more like a horse and buggy. Well, either way, we had an amazing time and we thought we'd share our experience and a few of our Euro 2024 travel tips with you.
We began our journey in Amsterdam at Central Station, where we boarded our train to Duisburg, Germany, where we were supposed to connect to another train to get to Dortmund, where the match would be the following day. This is where our first learning comes in. Be prepared for delays. Our 3-hour trip turned into a 6-hour saga. So another pro tip, if you're going to the Euros, don't forget to pack some patience and extra time with you, and definitely pack some snacks.
Oh hey, before we forget to mention, because this one is pretty freaking important, on the train there were border agents doing passport checks as soon as we crossed into Germany, so definitely make sure to have your travel documents, so your passports, with you by hand so when they come around you can immediately give it to them.
We ended up arriving in Dortmund close to midnight. At this point, we were so exhausted, we just wanted to head to our hotel and go to sleep.
The next morning started off much better. We were up, the weather was good, and we were in desperate need of caffeine, so we headed to a nearby coffee spot. We went to a place called Ivy's Coffee.
We both had nice, healthy chia bowls topped with strawberry and mango sauces, as well as a coffee and some Earl Grey tea. Everything was good at Ivy's Coffee, which is set on the second floor, right next to the windows, so we could watch the city and the fans come to life while we enjoyed our breakfast. After breakfast, we went for a walk around Dortmund. The city is in full football mode right now, and the energy was awesome. Mehmet even got interviewed by a Turkish news station about his game predictions. There's tons of stuff set up around the city in support of the matches, including a large fan zone where you can view the matches on a big screen. However, because the weather was forecasted to turn pretty bad later in the day, the fan zone was closed on this day.
The threat of bad weather definitely didn't deter us fans though. Both sides were out in full swings around the city. The vibes here were very friendly and everyone was clearly very excited to support their national teams.
Before heading to the stadium, we stopped for some lunch at Maximilian's on Dortmund's main square. This was a great spot for lunch because we could observe all of the friendly chaos happening as both Turkish and Georgian fans paraded past us while singing, which seemed more like screaming, their chants at each other. We had a chicken burger and a cheeseburger, but to be honest, we were too distracted by the atmosphere to really focus too much on our food, and we're definitely not complaining about that, as this was a very entertaining pre-game frenzy.
Alright, finally, what we came for. It was time to head to the stadium. At this point, our luck, the weather started to look like it was going to take a turn for the worst. We checked the forecast and headed out when there was a lull in the downpours. If you're heading to the stadium from the center of Dortmund or from the train station, there's a green carpet that leads all the way to the stadium. It's a pretty easy walk that takes less than 30 minutes or so while you're surrounded by a sea of fans. And another pro tip, I'm not 100% sure if this is true in all cities, but in Dortmund, we were also given free public transportation for 36 hours along with our tickets. So we could have also taken the metro to the stadium, but decided it was more fun to walk with the majority of the other fans.
We arrived at the stadium pretty early, and right before the entrance to the stadium, we saw there was an empty ice rink set up with a huge screen showing previous matches and an awesome tailgate type of vibe. We popped in to check it out, and we were so happy we did because it immediately started pouring rain. So we hung out here until the weather cleared up enough that we could walk between there and the stadium without getting totally drenched.
Okay, now, finally, we made it into the stadium and our adrenaline and excitement levels were off the charts. I've been to qualifier matches for Turkey before, but this was on another level. But before the match began, no surprises here, we were hungry again. And this brings us to another pro tip, which is to eat somewhere other than at the stadium. We grabbed some chicken sausages. Well, let's just say the stadium food wasn't the highlight of the evening. There were tons of stands set up all the way to the stadium, and I really wish we went with one of those stands instead.
If you're watching this, you're probably aware of the outcome, and of course we can't show you videos from the match, but let's just say it was an unforgettable experience. It was so much fun, so loud, and overall just a great time. By the end, we were grinning from ear to ear and losing our voices. Well, Mehmet might have lost his before the second half even began, and he still might be struggling with it today.
Worth every chant. Leaving the stadium, the energy was unreal. Singing, dancing, car horns. It was a victory parade through the streets. I'm getting pumped up just remembering this moment. Oh, and guess what? We were finally able to get some döner. We passed a great looking kebab shop, so we had to stop in to fulfill our craving, which tasted even better after Turkey's sweet victory.
And this brings us to our last pro tip. If you're visiting, bring cash. We've learned from previous visits that Germany can be a very cash-first country, and many of the places selling food and drinks in Dortmund this weekend were cash only, so definitely come prepared for that. The next day, we had a quick breakfast at New Schwartz Coffee Bar before starting our journey back to Amsterdam. This place had great, strong coffees and delicious cakes.
Unfortunately, our journey back home to Amsterdam was not exactly smooth sailing either. We had no problems leaving Dortmund, however, we ended up being stuck in Duisburg again for about 2 hours. Despite the travel hassles, this trip meant so much to us to watch Turkey win our first match of the tournament. I would not change anything that happened to us on this trip. Okay, maybe I could do without waiting at Duisburg station, but still, the trip itself was amazing. The city's passion, electric atmosphere at the match, and of course, the döner. It was all worth it at the end.
If you're thinking about going to a Euro match, we say go for it. Just be prepared for anything and definitely bring some snacks. Let us know in the comments if you are at the Turkey-Georgia game or if you're planning to travel to any upcoming matches. We hope this was helpful if you're wondering what it's like to go to a Euro match in person. We always appreciate a thumbs up if you like our videos, and subscribe if you want to see where our next adventure takes us.